Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Chef Jen. And today I'll be showing you how I make my lasagna. Now for this recipe, I'm going to be using ground turkey, but you can also use ground beef or ground chicken, depending on your preference. And today I'm also going to make a cheese sauce from scratch. So I'm going to show you how I do that. And this is the same cheese sauce that you can use for the deluxe mac and cheese. If you haven't seen that video, you can go ahead and check it out. But for the other ingredients, you're going to need some spinach, going to need milk, some seasoning salt, all-purpose seasoning, browning, allspice, onion, hot pepper, scotch bonnet pepper, nutmeg, butter, black pepper, tomato sauce, onion, garlic, some whole wheat lasagna noodles, which I already have the pot going with some salt and oil to boil that. You're gonna need some flour for the cheese sauce, it's like a tablespoon of flour, soy sauce, ketchup, milk for the cheese sauce. I have some thyme and apple cider vinegar. So just keep on watching if you want to see how I make this lasagna from scratch. Okay, so to start the cheese sauce, you're going to need like a half tablespoon of stick butter and 1 clove of minced garlic. And to start the meat mixture, you're going to empty the contents of the packet of meat in there. Then you're going to add your powdered seasoning, some thyme, browning, all-purpose seasoning, seasoning salt, allspice, soy sauce, and I'm gonna add this, which is some onion, scotch bonnet pepper, and garlic. And then you're just gonna let that cook for a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and break this apart with my wooden spoon. I'm not using any oil because there's fat in the meat, so we don't need any oil. So I'm gonna let this come together a little bit. Then I'm gonna show you how I make the cheese sauce. Okay, so I'm melting the butter with the minced garlic, and now I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour to this mixture, and the purpose of the flour is to thicken the sauce. Then you're going to whisk that together, so the butter, the garlic, and the flour. And when it starts coming together, you're going to add your milk, and you're going to slowly add the milk to prevent lumps. You don't want a lumpy sauce. So you add it a little at a time. And for those who don't have the time to make the sauce from scratch, you can just go ahead and purchase the ready-made cheese sauce in the jar. Ragu has a lovely 4 cheese sauce that you can just go ahead and substitute if you don't want to, if you don't have the time to make this cheese sauce from scratch. So you keep adding milk a little at a time, and you're gonna whisk it to get rid of the lumps. Okay, so the meat sauce is coming together. It's bringing its own juices. Smells good in here. So you're just gonna let that cook for another 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna add the ketchup, apple cider vinegar, a little bit of sugar, and some tomato paste to bring it all together. The water is still trying to come to a boil for the pasta, and the cheese sauce is coming together. I've added more milk and I'm going to let this thicken. And then the last thing I'm going to add is the 5 cheese Italian shredded cheese. Now if you're doing the mac and cheese, you'd use mixed cheese, the one with the like cheddar cheese in it. But since it's for lasagna, the Italian cheese works fine. I'm also going to add some black pepper and salt and some grated nutmeg to this cheese sauce to just make it more flavorful. So I've added some black pepper, salt, which you can see, and some grated nutmeg. And just keep this on a medium-low heat and let this thicken up. It's gonna be so delicious. The meat is coming together. Okay, so this cheese sauce is looking good. It has a nice thickness to it, so I'm gonna go ahead and add most of this. That I'm gonna just leave a quarter of this bag left to top the lasagna. And the meat, I went ahead and added some ketchup, apple cider vinegar, a little sugar to bring it all together. And it's looking good, smelling good. And the water now, it's still trying to come to a boil. I'm gonna go ahead and add the lasagna noodles. Now I only use half of the package at each time, which is like 8 strips of lasagna noodles, and this will take approximately 10 to 12 minutes to cook in this boiling water. So you just keep an eye on that to try and not overcook the lasagna noodles. So a good way to know when the sauce is done is when it coats the back of a spoon, just like this. So you just get the spoon in there, and when it coats the back of the spoon, you know that that's a good thickness. So I'm going to remove it from the heat and add the shredded cheese to it, and it's going to taste even better. So I've added the shredded cheese and I've left some to top the lasagna. I also like to add spinach to the cheese mixture, but this time I'm just going to layer it when I'm assembling the lasagna. I'm just going to layer the spinach in it. So I'm going to go ahead and melt the shredded cheese in the cheese sauce. It's going to be even yummier. The meat sauce is done, so all I'm waiting on now is the pasta, and then we're going to start layering it in this Pyrex dish. I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 350. Then we'll show you how it looks while I assemble. Pasta is done, so I drained it off in my colander, and I'm running it under some ice cold water to stop the cooking process and also to cool down the noodles so that we can start assembling the lasagna. So I have the cooled off lasagna noodles. The meat sauce is ready. The cheese sauce is ready. The cheese to top the lasagna after it's assembled is ready. And the spinach is over here. So now I'm going to start layering. First you're going to put a layer of cheese sauce and then some pasta. That way the pasta doesn't stick directly to the Pyrex dish. So I'm going to add cheese sauce, then a layer of lasagna, then a layer of meat sauce. Then I'm going to show you how that looks. So there's it. Cheese sauce is underneath, as you can see there, and this is 2 strips of lasagna noodles. So 1.5 and 1.5. So now I'm going to put the meat sauce on top, then another layer of noodles. There it is, the meat sauce. Now I'm going to put another layer of noodles on top. Here's another layer of noodles on top of the meat sauce. And this time I went in the opposite direction. So first I did that way. Now I'm going to do that way, horizontally. Now I'm going to add some cheese sauce on top of this. Then I'm going to add some spinach on top of the cheese sauce. That's what it looks like. Chicken sauce with some spinach leaves on top. Now I'm going to add another layer of lasagna noodles on top of this cheese sauce. Added the noodles. Now I'm going to add another layer of meat sauce on top of the noodles. So you're going to have 2 layers of meat sauce and 2 layers of cheese sauce. And the final layer of the cheese sauce is going to be the top, what's going to be the top of the lasagna, the finished product. So now I'm going to add the remainder of my noodles, put some cheese sauce on top, and then we'll be good to go. Keep in mind that I keep alternating the direction in which I put the noodles. So first horizontally, then vertically, then horizontally. And then now, since this is the last layer, I'm going to add the spinach first, then the rest of the cheese sauce, and then the shredded cheese to top it off. So I've added some spinach, the remainder of the cheese sauce, and the shredded cheese on top. The oven is preheated, so I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes until the top is nice and melted, and I'll show you the finished product. Okay, so the lasagna is coming together. The cheese is melted nicely. And I want to stress the importance of cleaning up after yourself. While I wait on the lasagna to finish, I went ahead and washed all the dishes, all the pots, cleaned off the stove. Everything is nice and clean so that when the lasagna is finished, I can just enjoy eating the lasagna. So it's very important to clean up after yourself when you're done cooking. So here you have the finished product. It has been 15 minutes since I placed it in the oven. And now it's out. Cheese is melted, looking good.